How do you ever expect to expand your mind if you only deal with what you know?
Wow.
If you only deal with what you know.
Hey guys, this is Daniel Kwak again, back again with Mr. Johnny
D.
We're at his beautiful home that he just got done, and look at the view of this lake. Isn't that cool? So we're actually in Cedar Lake, Indiana. So I was having a conversation with this guy, and I was just asking him, like, dude, like, how'd you get started? Because for those of you guys that don't know what this man has accomplished, he's been an entrepreneur for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
20 plus years.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because that's like as long as I've been alive, I think.
Huh. Almost.
Yeah.
Probably. Right.
Something like that, right? So that's absolutely incredible. So Johnny, I want to ask you and kind of tell everybody, because we get this question a lot. Just how do you start? So Johnny, how'd you start?
So I grew up in Chicago, on the south side, south suburbs, and I was fortunate enough to get a basketball scholarship. I played small college basketball for 4 years. And I was also, while I was playing basketball there, I did get 2 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So I was have a business degree and a biology degree. Weird mix, right? Weird mix.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, I got involved in the environmental field, and I was because I like science. I like I thought that was kind of cool, helping the earth kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got involved in that, and then about 8 years in, I realized that I had made a mistake. I didn't really want to be in the corporate world. I wanted to be more, I don't know, there was something about it. I'm in a, even though I was in sales, I talk about being in a cubicle, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like being in a small, glorified county jail. I think is really the thing there. And I'm not knocking that for other people. I'm just saying that's how I felt. But I just wanted to change, and I think that was the first thing. I went in at the time, and I told my boss, Russ, at the time, I said, hey, I'm leaving the company, and which was a shock to Russ, because I was always doing well. I had always blown out my numbers. I was a good business person. I was a good employee.
Yeah.
That's what I really was. And companies like good employees.
Yeah,
they want good employees. They like good employees because they know that they need good employees to make a profit. And so, my discontent, my issue of being an employee wasn't necessarily I just was working for somebody else, making them money. And I thought, well, is there a way that I could take my efforts and my action and do this on my own? So I thought about 2 things. I thought about real estate investing, because in Chicago, I'd always grown up in apartment buildings. I learned that business from the inside looking out. And I saw the rent guy is what I called him as a kid, 8 years old or whatever. Mom, why is the rent guy here again, right? Knocking on the door, collecting the check. But I saw my mom go to her 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 every day, right?
Yeah.
But I saw the rent guy come once a month to collect money. I like that. Not that I didn't want to be my mother. I liked the idea of being the rent guy, coming once right? He always had a nice, he looked relaxed, had a nice tan going on, drove a nice vehicle. He's here picking up checks. I wanted to pick up checks rather than go to my 9 to 5. Right?
That sounds great.
So that was kind of my first thought of, I need to do something different. And so I left the company. I remember I quit cold turkey. At that point I had a family. I still have a family, and maybe someone's here. I don't hope not. But I had a family, and that was tough for me. I'll never forget the idea of being relieved and being scared at the same time, leaving that.
Yeah.
And but I got to tell you, that's probably the best decision I made. Anytime you can feel fear and relief, that was a fusion of feelings that I thought really made me take action. I think about I think about guys that play in the NFL, like running backs, and I remember them asking Barry Sanders. He was before your time. You were way too young. But Barry Sanders played for the Detroit
I played him on
Lions.
Madden. Yeah,
okay.
I played him on Madden.
This guy was unbelievable. He was an unbelievable running back. And, you know, I remember seeing him in an interview, and they're like, why? How did you perform so well? Why were you able to cut so quickly to get away from defenders? And he said, you know what? I was scared. I was scared to get hit by guys. And I remember that fear. I'll never forget that. The way he said it was like fear got him to take action. And I thought about that. I said, you know, if you put yourself in an uncomfortable position, you do things that you wouldn't normally do if you're comfortable.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense.
And so I think the first thing that a lot of people should do is ask the question, are they too comfortable? Am I too comfortable right now? Because if you're too comfortable, you're not making moves. You're not taking action. You're not zigging when you should be zagging. Or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember that interview, and I thought, man, that's key for business. Is, are you pushing yourself? Are you pushing yourself to, as I'm bleeding here, I don't know if I cut the table or whatever, but are you pushing yourself to take action? Are you challenging yourself to get into, you know, it might be debt. You know, as a real estate investor, I think one of the things that you think about is debt. You know, how do you leverage to get a better return? Well, for a lot of people, that's pressure. It is.
Yeah.
But I think pressure makes you grow. That's what creates diamonds from coal.
That's right.
So, are you pushing yourself in ways? If you're not, you should find somebody to either push you, or you should. I'm not telling anybody to quit their job, so I'm not saying that unless that's really what you want to do.
Right. Right.
But are you pushing yourself? Are you constantly in a position where you've got positive pressure around you, something that's going to help you grow, something that's going to help you go to the next level? Again, if you're too comfortable right now and you've made it, chances are that's when something comes that's negative. So I'm always finding ways to challenge myself, whether it's create a new business or, you know, one of the things I haven't told you is Heather and I do these, we're writing a book on this, it's called a 30-day challenge. And so one of the things that we've done in the 30-day challenge is we went to in 1 month, we went to a service at all the world's major religions.
Wow.
Christianity, Judaism, Hindu, Muslim, Islam, all the major religions, and Buddhist. And were you raised Buddhist?
No, I was raised Christian. Yeah, my dad was a pastor.
Okay, that's right. I knew that.
Yeah.
So, but we did that, and you know, I got to tell you, like going into an Islam temple, a mosque, with all the craziness that you hear in the media, it was a little nerve-wracking until I got there, until I actually got with people and realized that they're really great people, and like, you know, don't listen to what the mainstream media is going to tell you about them, or else I would never went. But that's an example of how I think you could challenge yourself on a simple level. You don't need to be an entrepreneur necessarily, but you could challenge your relationship. Like Heather's a vegetarian, my wife Heather, and the reason she become a vegetarian is we did a 30-day challenge where she didn't eat meat for a month. I didn't either. I went back immediately on the day 31 and ate bacon like all day. She was a vegetarian since, but she never would have became a vegetarian if we didn't challenge herself. So like that's personal, but business, you could challenge yourself. Spiritually, you could challenge yourself. You know, I don't think. And I would never tell somebody how to handle that, but I think what's interesting is when we did that challenge of went to a service of all the major religions, I realized that you know, people were going to worship in different ways, but it seemed to me that they were worshiping the same God. They just took different routes there. And I don't want to turn this into a spiritual, religious thing, but at the same time, if you're not challenge yourself in those ways, you can never grow. Someone once said this to me, how do you ever expect to expand your mind if you only deal with what you know?
Wow.
If you only deal with what you know. And so, you know, I don't know. You got on a tangent there.
I love that, man. Health, love, you know, you say health, wealth, love, and happiness, right? You got to challenge. And I have a business coach, and he always says like everything is intertwined. Everything is intertwined: business, life, fitness.
Yeah.
Right. You're a former basketball player, college
Yeah.
athlete, so you know the importance of fitness.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm svelte right now.
Yeah.
You're saying svelte. Yeah. I just landed from Salt Lake City, and I was with a dear friend. He lives in San Francisco, and he meditates every day, and he's a vegetarian. He eats right. Our conversation at dinner was how the world and the universe is made up of vibration. And we were talking about different ways people heal and different ways that the subconscious mind talks to yourself to as a safety precaution. Anytime you think of something and it's fear-based, like, oh my God, what's going to happen if this? Your body is a pharmacy. That's what our conversation was. Your body's a pharmacy, so your body starts releasing chemicals, dopamine, cortisol, all these chemicals that are done to protect you, to protect the organism.
Right.
But the mind can't tell if what you're thinking about from an experience standpoint is real or not. In other words, the thoughts that you give yourself, that you're thinking about of what could happen in the future, your mind takes that as, hey, that's happening now, I need to protect the organism, release cortisol, or if it's a happy thing, release dopamine, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why that came up, but that's what we were
Fitness, right.
talking about. But it's true for business, and it's true for an individual. Be careful what you think about.
Yeah.
Be careful who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
Be careful what news you listen to.
Right.
Because it becomes dogma of how you are and what you live. We were also talking about. If I was prepared, I'd have all these college studies here with me. But we were also talking about how we all want to align ourselves with tribes. In other words, it's a tribal mentality. So if you're a Republican, that's your tribe, you think all Democrats are evil. If you're a Democrat, that's your tribe, you think all Republicans are evil. Or if you're University of Illinois, you think people from Purdue are evil, kind of thing. So just be careful who you surround yourself with and how you communicate to yourself. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, and I got to comment on that. It's just like especially in the last 2 years, or even the last 6 months, I really had a struggle looking for new mentors, right? Because I had a mentor who we partnered up together. I learned a lot from him, and I came to a point in my career where I got really bored. And when I get bored, people almost get depressed, when we're entrepreneurs, right? Because we always want to be moving forward. So, that's why I actually started hanging out a lot with John, right? For a lot of the viewers that are watching. And I was like, man, I just got to hang out with him like every week just so I could have his mindset and his wisdom rub off on me.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. Talk about pressure.
Yeah, right. But last and final thing, John. So for the people watching, right? There's a lot of people watching who they want to learn real estate. They don't have any deals yet, or maybe they've done one or two, right? They just want to break into the game. So for the person who they're watching YouTube videos, they're watching this video, they're reading books, and let's go ahead and do full circle here. In terms of how you got started, what advice would you give to that person watching right now?
I think the biggest thing that I would tell somebody looking to do real estate, and I've kind of switched. I don't do a lot of the real estate teaching from an investment standpoint anymore. I'm just kind of keeping it fresh. But the thing that I would tell people is like we talked about earlier, search for problem and search for people rather than property. That's number one. Do things different, mix it up. But number two, if you're building your network or if you're just starting out, you should ask the question, what's my IQ with regard to business? Like, do I have a team around me that can help me with this? Because most real estate investors failed simply because they weren't good at business, or they didn't know the fundamentals of balancing a checkbook or having somebody to balance a checkbook for you, right? So that's the thing I would ask. And if you're not, it's okay. I think people are afraid. well, I'm not going to do it because I don't know much about business. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm saying go find somebody that does have the experience and make them part of your tribe, make them part of your team. And I think that would be the biggest thing I would recommend.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Johnny. And for those of you guys watching right now this video, feel free to check out Johnny's stuff. It will be in the link. The link will be in the description, and also his link to his YouTube channel. And I gotta say, guys, I'm a big fan of Johnny's channel. I've watched some of his videos, and I consume a lot of content on YouTube. I read a lot of books, and I gotta say, Johnny's material is definitely prime. I mean, if we're talking real estate, Johnny's content is like that beautiful house on top of the hill that's right next to the shore. All the other people's are just like that crappy duplex on the bottom of the hill that's got flood insurance, and you know, so
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So guys, his material will be in the screen once this video is over. It's also in the description. My name is Daniel Kwak. This is Mr. Johnny Dessauer. We'll see you guys later. More content coming soon.
See ya.
Well, hello there. You made it to the end of this video, which means you loved the video, you liked what you saw. If you want to see more awesome real estate investing videos and podcasts in the future, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to get more notification about our next videos.